Imagine walking through a dense, steamy mangrove forest. The air is thick with the smell of salt and mud. You hear the calls of tropical birds and the scuttling of crabs. But what if I told you that hiding just above your head, inside a rotting log, is a fish? Not a fish that climbed up there for a quick look, but a fish that actually lives there. It sounds like something from a fantasy story, doesn't it? But this creature is very real. It's a tiny, incredible animal that breaks all the rules we thought we knew about fish. This is the story of a fish that has turned the world upside down, swapping the endless blue of the ocean for a dark, damp home inside a tree. It's a true oddity of the natural world, a living puzzle that challenges our very definition of what a fish is supposed to be. This amazing creature is called the mangrove rivulus or Cryptolebius marmoratus. It's a small fish, usually no longer than your thumb. You could easily overlook it, but its size hides some of the most extraordinary abilities in the animal kingdom. This isn't a fish you'll find swimming in a coral reef or a deep ocean trench. Its home is the tangled, waterlogged world of the mangrove swamps of the Caribbean and the Americas. These are tough places to live. The water can be salty one minute and fresh the next. The temperatures can soar and the water can disappear completely during the dry season, leaving behind a world of mud and roots. For most fish, this would be a death sentence, but for the mangrove rivulus, it's just another day at the office. So how does it end up in a tree? The mangrove rivulus is not a great climber. You won't see it scaling tree trunks like a squirrel. Instead, it's an opportunist, a master of finding shelter in the most unlikely of places. When the mangrove pools and puddles it calls home start to dry up, or when the water gets too hot or loses its oxygen, the rivulus goes on a journey. It flips and wriggles its body, flopping across the damp mud and leaf litter. It's not graceful, but it is effective. It's searching for a safe haven, a place to wait out the tough times. Its goal is to find a damp, dark crevice, often inside a waterlogged log or a hollowed-out tree root left behind by insects. This journey is a desperate scramble for survival. The fish is exposed, vulnerable to predators like birds and crabs. It must move quickly, using its powerful tail to launch itself forward in a series of determined flips. Think of it like a tiny acrobat, using every ounce of its energy to escape a dangerous situation. It can sense the moisture in the air, guiding it towards a potential new home. Once it finds a suitable log, it wriggles its way inside, settling into a tiny pocket of dampness. Here, surrounded by decaying wood, it will wait. It might be days, weeks, or even months before the rains return, and it can venture back into the water. This incredible behavior sets it apart from almost every other fish on the planet. Life inside a log is a strange existence for a fish. The space is cramped, dark, and full of rotting wood. There's very little water, often just a thin film of moisture clinging to the decaying fibers of the tree. The oxygen levels are incredibly low, far too low for a normal fish to survive for even a few minutes. Yet, the mangrove rivulus thrives here. It enters a state of near hibernation, slowing down its body processes to conserve energy. It doesn't need to swim or hunt. It just needs to wait. This log is not just a temporary shelter, it's a life raft. It protects the fish from the scorching sun, from drying out completely, and from the many predators that roam the mangrove floor when the tide is out. The rivulus isn't alone in its woody sanctuary. It often shares its cramped quarters with other rivulus. Scientists have found dozens of these fish packed together like sardines inside a single log. What's even more bizarre is that the mangrove rivulus is a self-fertilizing hermaphrodite. This means a single fish has both male and female reproductive organs and can produce its own offspring without a mate. This is an incredible advantage for an animal that lives such an isolated life. A single fish washed into a new puddle or finding a new log can start a whole new population all by itself. It's a perfect strategy for colonizing the unpredictable and ever-changing mangrove environment. When the rains finally return, the log becomes a launching pad for a new generation. The water seeps into the wood, signaling to the fish that it's safe to emerge. One by one, they wriggle out of their wooden shelters and flop back into the newly formed pools. They are immediately ready to live as fish again, swimming and feeding as if they never left the water. This dual lifestyle is what makes them so fascinating. They are perfectly adapted to both worlds, the aquatic world of the mangrove pools and the terrestrial or land-based world inside a log. They are masters of transition, able to switch between two completely different ways of life depending on the conditions. Think about the challenges they overcome. They deal with dramatic shifts in salinity, from pure freshwater to water saltier than the ocean. They handle extreme temperature swings that would cook other fish. They survive in water with almost no oxygen and then survive on land with no water at all. It's a testament to the power of evolution. The mangrove rivulus has developed a unique toolkit of adaptations that allows it to live where others can't. This little fish isn't just surviving, it's conquering one of the most difficult habitats on Earth by using the forest itself as a partner in its survival. The secret to the mangrove rivulus's incredible survival skills lies in its skin. When a normal fish is taken out of water, its gills, which are designed to extract oxygen from water, collapse and become useless. The fish essentially suffocates in the open air. But the mangrove rivulus has a backup plan. Its skin is covered in a dense network of tiny blood vessels, which allows it to absorb oxygen directly from the air, much like a frog or a salamander. This process is called cutaneous respiration. As long as its skin stays moist, the rivulus can breathe on land for an astonishingly long time, up to 66 days in a row according to some studies. It's a fish that has evolved to be not so fish-like when it needs to be. This ability fundamentally changes what the rivulus can do. It's no longer trapped in the water. When a pond becomes too crowded, or a predator like a larger fish enters its territory, the rivulus can simply leave. It can flop out of the water and make its way to a different pool, or retreat into the safety of a nearby log. This gives it a huge advantage over its aquatic competitors. It's like having an escape hatch that no one else can use. While other fish are stuck dealing with poor conditions, the rivulus is already on its way to a better home. This remarkable adaptation is a perfect example of how animals evolve creative solutions to life's challenges. Living on land also requires the fish to change its entire body chemistry. When it's out of the water, it needs to conserve every drop of moisture and carefully manage its waste products. Normal fish release ammonia, a toxic waste product, directly into the water through their gills. But on land, this isn't possible. The mangrove rivulus has evolved the ability to store this waste in its body at non-toxic levels until it returns to the water. It's a bit like holding your breath, but for waste management. This intricate biological trick is another key to its long-term survival outside of its natural aquatic element. These adaptations challenge our classic understanding of a fish. We tend to think of fish as creatures completely bound to the water, defined by their gills and fins. But the mangrove rivulus shows us that the line between sea and land is not as solid as we thought. It lives in the in-between, a world that is neither fully aquatic nor fully terrestrial. It's a living paradox, a fish that spends a significant portion of its life acting like an amphibian. Its existence forces us to be more open-minded about what is possible in nature and to appreciate the incredible diversity of life's survival strategies. The mangrove rivulus is more than just a biological curiosity. It's a treasure trove for scientists. For researchers studying evolution, this fish is like a living time capsule. The transition of animals from water to land was one of the most important steps in the history of life on Earth. It's how our own distant ancestors eventually came to walk on two legs. The mangrove rivulus, with its ability to live in both worlds, gives us a glimpse into how that incredible transition might have happened. By studying how it breathes, moves, and survives on land, we can learn about the kinds of adaptations that were necessary for the very first land-dwelling vertebrates. This fish is also incredibly important for scientists studying how animals might adapt to climate change. Mangrove forests are on the front lines of rising sea levels and changing weather patterns. The rivulus, with its built-in resilience to heat, low oxygen, and unpredictable water levels, is a model organism for survival in extreme environments. Understanding its genetic and physiological toolkit could help us predict how other species might cope with a changing world. It could even inspire new technologies for dealing with harsh conditions, showing us nature's solutions to problems like oxygen deprivation or water scarcity. The way the mangrove rivulus moves is also a source of fascination. Its flipping and flopping might look clumsy, but it's a highly efficient way to travel across a complex surface like mud or leaf litter. Biomechanists, scientists who study the mechanics of living creatures, are interested in how it uses its muscles and skeleton to launch itself through the air. This could inspire the design of small-scale robots that can navigate difficult, uneven terrain. Imagine a tiny rescue robot inspired by the rivulus that could wriggle through rubble to find survivors after an earthquake. The lessons learned from this tiny fish could have very big applications. In the end, the mangrove rivulus reminds us that nature is full of surprises. It's a humble creature that quietly goes about its business in the muddy swamps, yet it holds the answers to some of science's biggest questions. It shows us that even the smallest animals can have the most epic survival stories. This fish that lives in trees is a powerful symbol of adaptation and resilience. It pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible and encourages us to look closer at the world around us. There are still so many incredible secrets hidden in the wild waiting to be discovered, one flip and a flop at a time.